Yep, now we're live. Hey guys, so my name is Joe Marandino. I'm with Vincent Vacations. We recently, the three of us, Ashley, Tweety, Amanda Berlin, and myself, and others with our agency and another agency, we recently returned from a trip to Fiji last week. I can't believe it's already been over a week that we've been home. And we just wanted to get on here tonight and kind of share our experiences, share what we thought about the trip, share the things that we learned, the highlights, the lowlights, the just overall experience that we had. We're going to try to go in kind of chronological order of the way the trip went and talked about the things that we did, the excursions that we got to do, the experiences that we had at each of the resorts, and kind of compare and contrast the resorts and the locations, and hopefully provide you guys with some information that will help. If you're looking to book Fiji, you could call us and use our expertise, and we would be happy to help. So why don't we start? Who wants to start and talk about a little bit about the flights and what we had to do and where we had them from and kind of what prompted us to get in on this trip? You want to start with that, Ashley?
Sure. Well, Dallas now has direct flights straight to Nandi, and it is about 13-hour flight going and 12 and a half hours coming back. So it makes it so much more accessible from people on the East Coast or from, the center. I live in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it was a hour flight to Dallas, and then had my layover, and we all hopped on the plane together. It was fantastic for us because there was enough space on the plane that we were able to have our own row. So, got to lay out. But, thinking about it, it's only 3 hours longer than going from Dallas to Paris or Dallas to London. So it's really not that much further than going to Europe. And that's, I think, a huge misconception, is that people are just like, oh, that's a really long flight. But if you're going to Europe, you can go to Fiji.
Yeah.
So
also remember, we went in February. So February is kind of their downtime for Fiji.
Yes.
So the flight was pretty empty for February. But if you go in October, September, I mean, you might not be as lucky as what we were.
Right. No, that is very true. And the reason February is the downtime is because it's the tropical season. And so it's a bit more humid and you might have some rain showers. We were very lucky. We had a lot of sun.
Yes.
It was hot.
Yeah.
It was very hot.
Yeah.
And the rain showers that we had, I felt like they came and went pretty quick. Like if you went to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Florida.
Yeah, for me too. I live in Central Illinois, and I found a great flight direct from my little regional airport to Dallas that lined up perfectly with the flight to Fiji. So it was really great. And when I traveled to Rome from California, it was over 12 hours on one flight. So you're right, it's not really that much further for a lot of people than going to Europe. It was great, and the nonstop just made it perfect. So, so we get there. We get in the morning. First thing we do is we're on a shuttle, and it was a long shuttle ride.
Yeah.
So we went. Our first resort was the Outrigger Fiji Coral Coast. So maybe Amanda, you can touch a little bit about that resort and just kind of give an overview, and then we'll start talking about some of the experiences and things that we did from there.
Yeah. So Outrigger was, I want to say it was like an hour and a half away from the airport. The greeting was amazing. I thought we walked in. It reminded me a lot of some of the Hawaiian, like when you go to Hawaii, you see some of the berets, and it just kind of reminds me of that. And that's exactly what it reminded me of, the tropical, beautiful resort. We got there. We were greeted with coconuts. We drank some of that, and then we got into our rooms, which our rooms were, I liked them. Ashley, what did you think about our room? I know Joe over here got a little, got a little upgraded, a little spoiled, but
I
So we
like-
had,
was
I
we
like
had
our
to
rooms,
experience all the rooms. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I liked our rooms. It was a nice hotel room, and you know, our air conditioning worked great.
Yeah.
Yes, our air conditioning did work great.
which was great with the humidity.
I
But
think
yeah,
everybody except for two of us, our ACs were a little
which
funky.
is, that can happen at any resort, and it's,
Absolutely.
not necessarily like a overall thing. And then once you guys got moved, your room was nice and cool. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beret was I mean, besides it just being phenomenal, it was nice and cool. And we'll
Yeah.
talk a little bit more about that. I loved, you're right, the entrance was amazing. The way that you came in, the greeting that we had, what every resort was really cool. Outrigger, I think, did it better than the other two resorts or the other Marriott, and even our introduction to Intercontinental when we went there. I liked the singing, and I thought that was really a cool touch. I loved the panoramic view from the lobby of the entire
Mhm.
resort and the
Absolutely,
beach.
yeah.
I thought that was such a cool way to walk in and be welcomed into that
Yeah.
resort.
For me, for this resort, it was probably the most cultural based resort. I loved Castaway because, of course, it's on an island and it's going to be cultural based. But this one, for me, when it came to just being in the heart of Fiji, I really felt like that was the resort for me. It had the warriors walking around with the flames and lighting all of the what candles or what the flame torches around the resort. It had the kava ceremonies. It taught you a lot about the culture of Fiji, and for some reason I really loved that. I loved it a lot. I liked it a lot.
It was a really good introduction for us, especially not knowing much before going. You can do research, but until you experience it, I think that was, like you said, a really good introduction for us and the culture. And so, yeah, they did a good job with all that.
Yeah, I agree. And even throughout the week with some of the programs that they had, the kava ceremony, the what was the fish dish called? The kokoda, was it kokoda?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I thought they got outshined later in the week, but it was
they did. Yeah.
it was still really cool to be able to kind of just hear the stories and be part of that. And I thought the resort grounds were awesome. I loved the adults only pool. I liked where it was. It kind of tucked away. I liked the main pool. I liked that there was lots of shallow parts to just sit and relax. And I thought that was kind of cool. What did you guys think about the food? Let's talk about food for a second.
Non
For real. The food was phenomenal. Like, I was shocked. I didn't really go into it thinking about the food, and I'm always thinking about food. And so
we can attest to that.
yes. So to go into it and be just wowed by the food at honestly all the resorts, but particularly at Outrigger Fiji and at Momi Bay, it was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so many different types of dishes that you wouldn't really think about. Just the different the Indian food that we had, Thai food. There's just so many different cultural infusions that we tried. The curry, like everything was phenomenal.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think in the van ride over, we were talking to the bus driver, and he was telling us kind of the cultural breakdown of Fiji. And I was really shocked to hear that there was 40% of the island was Indians. And once I heard that, I was like, oh, there's going to be some really good food here because Indians make great chefs. They just make amazing food. It's part of it's their life, and it showed. And I did not have any food expectations. I thought it was just going to be good food. You're going to get by, and it's just that. And then when we were sat down time and time and time again, and we were served plated food that was like next level, every time I was just shocked that it just kept coming. I was like, oh, they did that for show. And then it's like, no, these are dishes that are on the menu. So we really had an opportunity to try dishes that any of the clients that we send there, they're going to be able to eat right off the menu. And I thought that was important. I don't like being spoiled with dishes that people don't get to try. Well, I like being spoiled by that, but not in this instance. So, and I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah. I agree. The naan bread was phenomenal.
Obviously, we're still dreaming of it.
Yeah, we're still dreaming about
and
that.
Still mad we didn't
the
get
butter
it to
chicken
go that evening.
The butter chicken, just so many dishes like that. It just dishes that you were just shocked by. So what else did you guys like about let's talk about the beach. Let's be honest about the beach there. Why don't you guys give some of your thoughts about that?
I don't know if it was the time of year that we went, if maybe the sand was all stirred up from the storms. It wasn't the color of water that we were expecting. I think we all agree on that.
100%.
It was okay. We didn't know that we shouldn't walk out. Luckily, we're all here.
But about that.
The tide goes way out. You can walk out when the tide's out pretty far, and that's really cool because of all the little critters that you can see. You guys saw starfish, we saw sea urchins, and you can also get kayaks, you can go snorkeling. They do a bunch of activities,
stand-up paddleboards.
Yes. But I think overall, like when we got there, we were expecting that pristine blue-green water.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of reminded me of like our ocean beaches here. Like no big waves on the beach because of the reef, but it wasn't like that sparkling color that we were expecting.
Right. Yeah, and another thing that we have to make sure and just tell our audience is that don't walk out to the flags. If the tide is down, you have to wait until the tide comes back up and then you can swim. Because there are things called stonefish. And if you step on one,
you can die.
You could potentially die.
It was a interesting way to learn about that at dinner with the marine biologist, just casually telling us. Just casual conversation.
You shouldn't have done that.
Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, there's stonefish.
Well, no one said we shouldn't do that.
Well, what?
Yeah, but I mean, we're fine. Nothing happened. It was great. I agree. I think setting the expectations of that beach is just important because there are some people I've showed pictures to since I've been back and they're like, that looks great. I like that. It's not like, I feel like the kids could swim there and play and not have to worry about big waves swiping them away. And so I've had some good feedback on it too, with honest pictures. I took some good pictures and video, and I haven't been like just told no. But you're right. If your expectation is that you want the pristine, clear waters and the blue, that's at least at the time we were there. And like Ashley said, maybe the water was stirred up and it wasn't it there. So you have to know that going there. And that's why it's important that you talk to people that have been there, because we can guide you on that kind of stuff and help you understand. And it's not a knock on that resort. It's not that you shouldn't go there. You just need to know what you're walking into, and then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
We didn't know. We were kind of all surprised.
I think we all still had a wonderful time at that resort.
100%.
It's just, it didn't take away as far, but if your expectations are a certain thing, you might, like a client might not appreciate the color of the water that we had. But like their promotional material has beautiful photos. So probably during their more dry season, it's a little brighter.
And all of the Australians and New Zealanders there, because that was mainly what we were running into, they didn't seem to mind at all. It was not even a thought in their mind. So you want to talk quickly about what I thought was at least the three of us, our favorite experience while we were there? Go.
You,
All right.
you need to introduce that because that was all you, Pop Joe.
So we were lucky enough to meet a father and daughter that were there staying at the resort. They were from Australia, and they actually teach in the local village, or they go to the local village and help teach and help coach rugby, and they're really involved there. And they've been doing this for about 14 or 15 years where they go there. And I had struck up a conversation. We had all kind of talked about wanting to go one of the local villages, and there was opportunities with some of the excursions. Then this came up, and we jumped on it. And they were so kind, and they invited us there. They got permission to bring us over to the village. We were able to get a bunch of donations and go and just. It was like 5 minutes away from the resort, and it was if that, and it was the best experience. So yeah,
it was humbling to see how they live. And we all have kids, and to be around their kids and see their joy, especially when we're missing our own, like that was an experience itself. And then it cracked me up when they were singing Apata. And they're very all wearing character clothing, and it just really shed light on how they live outside, because some of them live in the local villages, some of them live at the resorts. And so, to be able to see what their life is like outside of the resorts was very humbling and valuable to see, and then to sugar those kids up and just watch their joy
and then walk away when they're all sugared up.
That's what grandparents feel like.
Yeah, that's what grandparents probably feel like, but they didn't care. They were like, have at it. You can make a sandwich out of the hundreds and thousands, the sprinkle cookies and the sour gummy worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, and we got to do, or I at least got to partake in a kava ceremony with them and see how the actual local village does it. They made some exceptions to their ceremony for us just because we were pressed for time and the kids were so excited to see us. But it was really cool to learn all about it there. I really appreciated that part of it. I thought that was really neat. And yeah, to see they have phones, they have YouTube, they get to see how the rest of the world lives. And they're just so happy and grateful. And it was really eye-opening. It was awesome. I really, really, really enjoyed that part of the trip.
And I think also for me, it was seeing the older boys, like the 21 and older.
The under
21s.
Yeah, the under 21, the boys that had got the rugby ball, and they were just in so much joy to have something like that to play with for special occasions only.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was very humbling to see. Just they don't have one. They're not used to it.
Yeah. With the stories about what DK was telling us about what they would use, like bricks wrapped in t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. It's just cool to be able to help out in that situation and see that. And then, Ash sent me a video of them winning their quarterfinals. So she got to go watch them play and win quarterfinals. So just so much surrounding that part of the trip was really cool. And then, and that's not an experience I think that everybody's going to get to do. You can't just walk into the village and do what we did. Right. You have to find someone. You have to be, you have to be escorted. You can do excursions that do that. It may not be the same, but it's going to be very similar, and you can do all that. But I think we just lucked out. The good vibes, that's kind of was the theme of the trip, and the good vibes were with us a lot on this trip.
Yeah. And also people can still donate. I mean, if they want to go to Fiji and they do go to Fiji, they can still bring those peanut butter and the Nutella and the school supplies, like kind of like what we did for.
It's called, isn't it Packing with Purpose?
Yes.
Packing with Purpose. So, I mean, they can still. I mean, you all can still help when you go to Fiji.
Yeah, we left at each resort for our housekeeping.
Mhm.
Like reading glasses and, you know, things that
T-shirts,
yeah, things that
Towels.
that they could use that we didn't necessarily need. I mean, we took the reading glasses with that purpose, but having having just a little bit extra in your goods, like in your bags to leave behind because they're a remote island and it's hard for them to get some of these things. Or if they did have them there, but they cost so much more than it costs for me just to grab them. And then, you know, just to leave that because one, they don't do individual tips necessarily. They prefer kind of leaving tips at the end. There was a box at a couple of the resorts that you could leave a tip and then they dole it out at the end of the year. So, but leaving like things that they can use that can help them. I love the whole packing with purpose.
Me
Mhm.
too. Agreed.
So good.
All right, so let's move on from Outrigger Coral Coast, and then we had the opportunity. We were heading to the Marriott Momi Bay, which we were all very excited to be going to. It's probably the most popular resort right now in Fiji. It has overwater berets, and so we were all very excited to get that way. And on the way, we were able to stop at it was the Intercontinental, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thought that was a really modern and really
It was beautiful.
familiar.
Beautiful.
It was really familiar. If you're familiar with the brand, you're gonna feel like you know where you're at. You know
Yeah.
what you're getting. So let's talk a little bit about that one. What did you guys think overall? What did you think
I
of the
mean,
beach?
I'm still dreaming of the peri peri cassava we have at lunch. So
Yeah.
Stop talking about it. It was so
We
good.
we
Here we are on food
we
again.
shared our meals
I
like
told you
for
I'm always
everything.
thinking about it.
We shared our meals all the time.
The three of us would get something so we could each try. And I mean, it's the only way to do it, really. But
The only way, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite part about Intercontinental, and we didn't get to explore as much like the ocean, but I thought that the view of the ocean, the white sand, the beautiful blue water, that was more of what I was thinking when it comes to
yes.
Fiji. So I was impressed with that. The rooms were gorgeous too, especially like the balconies and having that space. The space was fantastic
Very
in these
spacious.
rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
definitely agree.
I liked the spa area there too. I thought it was really swanky walking into it, and that what was that one room that they had for like if you were having a wedding party or like a girls' trip type thing, and they had the little pool outside.
Like the bridal like suite almost.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was really cool too.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I guess we didn't even touch on the spa at Outrigger, but that was pretty amazing too. So
my gosh, that
we missed it.
the view, the massage,
the experience
Yeah,
up
we
there.
didn't talk about the massage.
Yeah, we don't want to sound too spoiled, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
But we did forget to talk about the spa experience there at Outrigger was amazing. It was it was perched on a hill overlooking the resort and the beach, views all around. Each room had a view of the ocean, like a wide open. It was really set up nice.
Yes.
It looks like my camera froze again, but you guys, okay, here we go. That was great, but then the spot, so this much different than the spot, the Intercontinental. The Intercontinental was much more modern and sleek. Really another good, just a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Outrigger was definitely more cultural based. I mean, you could just feel it. Then the Intercontinental was, like you said, modern, sleek, posh, very just kind of luxury, fancy.
The club level area, was it called the club level, where it was concierge level or whichever it was?
Yeah,
where they had
club. Yeah, club.
That was awesome too, overlooking the entire resort, and it was just that was really
the infinity pool and the little huts that you could relax in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that resort would be a little bit closer to the airport, not as far of a drive as what the Outrigger was. Still pretty secluded. You're not going to be, there's no village or not any like city or town or anything nearby. So you're going to be on the resort, but the beach was definitely a lot nicer. The hotel was a little bit more upscale, I would say. The food was great. Same as Outrigger. I wouldn't say it was better or worse. And it was big though. It was very spread out. Like you could walk the entire Outrigger without any kind of assistance. You need a golf cart to get around at the Intercontinental. So if you're not, if walking and just being close to everything is for you, the Intercontinental's not going to be the resort for you. It's just spread out so far.
Yeah, you would have to ask for a specific area of the resort. Like if it was, say, a multi-generational, they could ask for something, maybe near the pool or near the beach. That way they're close because there were restaurants right there and there were, that seemed closer to everything. And then they have the buggy that went around, and then they have the golf carts as well that you can call to come get you.
And that's definitely something, again, the Bula bus. You're right, Jody. It's the Bula bus.
The Bula bus.
So, but again, this is why you would contact us. We've been there now. We've been able to see this. These are the things that we're able to help our clients with firsthand knowledge now of knowing what that resort experience is going to be like. And the more we get to know our clients, the more we're going to be able to pick the best. If you're going to Fiji and you're talking to me and I know you, I'm going to be able to match you right away. I wouldn't have been able to do that before this trip, to just speak frankly on Fiji. I had no idea. And after this trip now, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what would be right for who. So that was the coolest part of it. So, so we have the afternoon there, and then we end up over at Momi Bay. So what's your first impressions on Momi Bay?
Again, with the water, may have just been the time of year we were there, but for overwater berets, the water, it was more blue-green than Outrigger.
For sure.
But it wasn't that wow factor. And they did say that the storms had kicked up the sand, so it was a little murkier looking. It wasn't clear. Like when people think overwater berets, they think Maldives and Bora Bora, where it's just clear and you can see sharks swimming and, rays and all that. You could not see down to the bottom through most of it. But I think that resort was good. One, the food at the fish bar was incredible.
Oh,
yes.
That
dinner was amazing.
You're going to be surprised by this, Joe, but the bats.
The bats
shocking.
Flying by.
Shocking.
The bats flying in the sky.
They're fruit bats, people. They're not coming for you. They're flying like off in the distance. But I was enamored. But then, the beachfront berets, I would 100% stay in one of those.
Oh,
they were beautiful. Loved. You have the ocean view. You can see the waves on the reef way out in the distance. Like
the sand.
It was,
like all of it. I agree. I feel like it's such a good anniversary honeymoon type resort. I would 100% send any of my honeymooners or big anniversary clients there, especially for those beachfront villas. Like the villas that they had were amazing. I want to stay in one of those like now.
The resort, and I think I agree with the honeymoon sentiment. The resort's sleepy. So after about 9 p.m. when dinner was done, they did have, a live music person in one area of the resort. There wasn't really much going on, and that's all right for many, many, many people. But you have to know that too. If you're looking to go and do some dancing and have some activity, I don't think that that's going to be the place that you would want to go if that's your priority. But if you're a honeymooner, it's great. And like you said, the beachfront, I was kind of bummed we never really went back out into that point where the sunset was, like where they do the events outside. I thought that was really cool. And I was shocked because I thought the resort was big or bigger than it was when they were taking us around on the first Bula bus. Because
Yeah.
everywhere we went seemed like it was like this really, really long route and going different places. And then when I walked to get coffee that one morning, I was like, oh, it was like 80 steps. It was right there. But I felt like
Like
to
you
get
just
the
got through.
yeah, but if you were to take the bus, they like take you all the way around and outside and go around, and you're like, oh, okay. So it's deceiving about the size of it. There are parts that you would definitely need the golf cart to get around, the buggy to get around, but for most of the stuff, you're fine just to walk. So
I mean, we could have walked to dinner, but the golf cart was much preferred
it was much more
at
fun
that
on the way
time.
back too.
Yeah. It was needed after dinner.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
That, or we could have all just like laid on the ground. They could have just rolled us back. 'Cause so much food.
I still wouldn't have had the same entertainment that scooter ride or that buggy ride had on the way back. It was so
Right.
fun.
Oh yeah.
The next day we ended up doing an excursion from Momi Bay, and I thought that excursion was like, I think we all said at some point on that excursion, oh, this is what they mean when they say Fiji. And I think it was almost those exact words. So Amanda, tell us a little bit about that excursion.
So what we did is we went to, I can't remember the resort or the place that we ate lunch at.
Musket Cove Island.
Yes. So we went there and had lunch, and then we got to stop at a sandbar where it was just a strip of sand, what you would think of Fiji, with beautiful clear water on both sides. We stopped and we took pictures, and we just got to we sat there and just took it all in, because that was like, oh, this is why you come to Fiji. This is gorgeous. There were starfish that we picked up and took pictures of, and then we went straight from there to go snorkeling in the most beautiful coral reef with the whole cast of Nemo. And it was
Except
phenomenal. Yeah, exactly. Except for Bruce. It was phenomenal though. The fish that we saw, I still think about it like today, even though, I mean, we were just there, but I still think about it all the time. It was my favorite part.
I think I've talked the most about the food and the snorkeling on the trip.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
But
shocking.
the snorkeling was like, it was like, I've explained it. I was telling friends, it was like being in an animated movie. So like, exactly, it's like Nemo. It just didn't feel real. It didn't feel like you're swimming in an aquarium. I mean, that would be a good analogy too, but it just felt like an animated movie. The way that Nemos were moving around and the way the fish were, they didn't care. Like if they were coming towards you, they would just spread around you and go right back on the other side. Like you would see like you see it in animated movies, and we were living it. It was unbelievable.
Well, the reefs are so shallow, and so swimming over them, they're just right there.
They're right there, right underneath you.
I think Amanda and I lazy snorkeled, so we had our life jackets on, so we could just do minimal. Yeah,
twice.
I will lazy snorkel every time.
I like lazy
because then
snorkeling.
I can enjoy it. Yeah, I can enjoy it and don't have to fight for my life. So,
which the water was very smooth. I thought that the first time.
Yes,
much smoother the first time.
Yeah,
but also, I mean, to kidding around about that, but in all reality, the reef is so shallow that it's helpful to have that jacket on, because you're like 2 feet above the reef and you can just glide right above it and you're not worried about anything. It was you don't need to dive there. Like there's no reason to dive there. You just go snorkel and you're seeing some of the best stuff. I thought that was so amazing.
The guide, and I'm gonna tell this real quick. The guide was spraying, is it fish food or the cookies that he had
It was
crunched up?
cookies. Yeah, he
And
put cookies in
Ashley-
a bottle.
Ashley almost got her finger bit off.
I got bit by 3 fish.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt. They didn't break the skin, but I was like, oh, what are they going to do if I put my hand in here? They bit me.
Yeah. What do you think they're going to do?
Well, they were tiny. I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm not going to put my hand in a dog's mouth while it's eating.
They like food as much as you do. So you learned
They
that
said, hey, not
quick.
for you, Ashley.
If that was non, well,
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys might have fought over it. And then what else? Then we just kind of had a scenic ride around, right? That was our first glimpse of our resort because we of our last resort, we got to kind of go around that island and then back towards Momi Bay. And yeah, going back through the pictures, that day was picture perfect weather. Like you couldn't. The rest of the trip after that, I think it was cloudy. That was the sunniest. Like that day landed to be absolutely amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it was supposed to rain. Like it had rain on the forecast for all day. And so it was kind of a
Didn't rain
back
at
and
all.
forth of should we do it? Yeah. And we ended up with like the most beautiful weather.
Not like Valentine's Day.
Oh gosh.
So then that was our full day there, and then the next day we got to go. We changed resorts again, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Went to Sheridan.
Yeah. So
we went to the Sheridan before Castaway.
But that last night at Marriott Momi Bay, we got to. It wasn't really a hosted dinner. It was the first time we didn't really have like the plated stuff put in front of us, so we got to experience more of the buffet. I thought it was good. I thought there was lots of great choices in there, lots of like unique choices. I thought it was great. Like if that was what I was going to be offered for dinner, I'm good.
Yeah, food there was great. The breakfast was perfect, and I love the food.
Yeah,
everywhere we went. Honestly,
I'm not a buffet person. Like I typically am like, no, I'm not. I don't like them. But I will say the buffets that we had were really good. The buffet at Castaway wasn't quite as good, like comparing it to the other ones. It wasn't as large and it didn't have as many choices. But Jim the Eggman,
Jim the Eggman made it.
Eggs.
Yeah,
Eggs Benedict was delicious.
Yeah,
so good.
I loved the omelet stations. If I was going to eat I didn't really get much else off the buffet at all. I thought the bacon was good and the omelets and the Vegemite toast. I was good. I know.
I'm good.
Video coming soon. Proof that she's not. Okay, so then we got that last morning we went off and we were going to tour. We got to tour another resort. So we went to the Sheraton in Denarau, right? Or Denarau?
Yeah.
Denarau. And what'd you guys think of that resort?
I thought it was gorgeous. Another modern. It was a little more cultural than the Intercontinental, but it was still modern. Like that was another one that I would stay at that I really liked the way that it felt. And then I was sad we didn't get to eat there because apparently their Tavu Tavu restaurant was voted the best restaurant on the island.
Really?
Over Fish Bar. Yeah, that's what they were saying is that Fish Bar at Momi Bay came in second to their restaurant.
Okay.
But we
were told they were going to say that. So maybe everyone has the best restaurant in the island.
Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
So, I really liked the Sheridan. I felt like for me this would be a really good family oriented resort. Good for moms and dads or whomever with younger kids, even middle-aged to a little bit older children. But it was beautiful. I loved it.
I agree. I think because it's so close to the airport, like it's not, there's no long drive to get there. If you have young kids, this is a great spot to go to. It's right at the marina, the Denarau Marina, where you can go do all of the different excursions that you want to do. There's shopping there. There's nightlife there. So it's going to give you a better mix of more of a modern feel, I guess, or a resort place feel, like not just the resort, but like a resort complex type thing. And I think that's a great spot to go. And then you could do a split stay from there because it's prices so well. And then if you want to go do one of the smaller islands, like the Musket Cove Island or Castaway, where we went after this, you can do that directly from there. And I thought that was great. The location, the rooms, especially with the bigger rooms, if you have a family and you want to spread out a little bit.
The villas.
The villas were fantastic. Again, the beach at that resort is not the best, but it's swimmable. It's nice. It's, there's a couple different areas. Yeah, for
and
sure.
The area had golfing. It had
a water park.
Multiple, the water park, the restaurants. I mean, there was so much that for family to do.
It shares with the villas. So you get access if you're staying at Sheridan Fiji Golf and Beach. You can go have access to the villas, vice versa. And then whenever the Westin opens in July, I think, then you have like all 3 properties have access to each other. So you have those restaurants, their pools. And so there's a lot of room to spread out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Perfect. I think it's a perfect place.
Yeah. So we got that, got champagned up a little bit. And then they said, all right, go get on the boat. And then we went to our last resort. I loved that one.
I did. I liked it too. I loved it too.
Now, I will agree. I don't think the food game there was the highest food game. There was some great dishes there, like some killer dishes. Their Kokoda and the presentation on the Kokoda, the best by far.
Yes.
But it's a smaller island, smaller kitchen, not as many restaurants. They did some really, really great dishes, but compared to some of the other places, the food game was just not that. It wasn't that. It was great. Just wasn't that.
Which,
but
maybe if we started there, we might have different feelings. Like, oh, it was good. Like
it was great.
Our expectations were set really high by the time we got there.
Exactly.
So
they were set really, really high.
I loved how small it was. I loved that.
Yeah.
The
small,
berets.
Intimate, the beret. It's just berets. So you either have the ocean front or basically ocean view.
Yeah.
I think there were a few garden ones over like on the
There were a few
side,
garden.
But for the most part, you can see the water from almost all of the berets.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you literally can walk around barefoot.
It's the original Barefoot Island.
If you have shoes and you're dressed up.
I loved that.
It did feel very strange that last night walking into the restaurant, which it's all open air. So it's not like you're going through doors, but walking into a restaurant barefoot.
Yeah.
After the experience we had, it was fine.
Right.
And the water around the island too was beautiful. And we snorkeled again.
Which that was really cool because the activities team just took us in the boat out to the edge of the reef and we swam the edge back to the beach.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool.
Their coral rehabilitation areas, their clam protection areas.
We made a fish house for the fish.
We made a fish house.
Some of you did. Some of us didn't. Some people made a fish.
Me and Ashley made a fish house.
You guys made a fish mansion.
You guys can't leave out Marla. She definitely
Marla, she constructed it too. She decorated it with shells as well.
And we got to drop one of the other ones that was made too a couple weeks ago, and we got to drop that in. I thought that was cool. But the snorkeling, and then just being able to hang out in the water, just go in, and it was awesome.
It was just like the first time we snorkeled. I mean, the fish were amazing and the coral was beautiful.
Is that where we saw all the squid?
Squid. Yes.
Which is another one of the things I keep going on about. The squid and the bats.
The
The
squid.
flying foxes.
I keep talking about the bluefish that was like
Unidentified.
I don't even know how big it was. That
It was
went
huge.
right by my face, and I'm pretty sure I screamed because it
You
scared
did.
me so bad.
You did. I heard you.
Ahead of you guys. I missed it.
Yeah, you missed that one. It came by and it was just like, I was like, what is that thing? And I heard, ah!
It was huge, and I didn't. It was.
I
Yeah.
know Elena saw it too, and we've been trying to like identify it, but we just can't. I have no idea what it was. It just
I don't
came and
either.
went, and but yeah, and then we did a sunset tour, which turned into Gilligan's Island. It was amazing. I thought that was so much fun. There's so much good footage on that, and that's going to get released eventually. What'd you guys think of that little boat ride?
Well,
Personally, I was a little upset.
We have pictures to prove it.
Yeah. I mean, somebody probably should have been like, hey, no, actually don't go sit on the front of the boat and take pictures in the lightning, but we didn't. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was all
It
good.
was correct. And then
It's
I was
all-
like, oh, hey, we need to not get electrocuted. Put your feet on the cooler.
Yes, after posing for Instagram up front in the lightning. Great
Yeah,
job.
I mean, you have to pose for your clients. I mean, that's what.
Well, it
that's what
was
it's about.
mainly that I hadn't taken a picture in my dress. And so I was like, wait, before I get soaked, which we didn't get rained on. So
Not
that
at
was
all.
lucky.
No.
We beat the rain. My favorite part was when they were like, when they became like, you could tell they became nervous, and they're like, everybody to the front of the boat. They're like,
Mhm.
so that we could get some speed going, and that was fun. I thought that was great. We were,
Oh
just so
my
you know, in the footage, we're all laughing. There's no one crying, no one screaming.
that's true. We were
laughing.
all-
Yeah.
So
We were all laughing, and they just kept pouring champagne.
they didn't stop. It was awesome. It was a great
Which
sunset
may
cruise.
have had something to do with everyone's reactions, but
Might have been. They're like, calm them down. Here you go. Just keep
Yeah.
drinking. But then we got to go do the dinner. That last dinner, I thought the table was set up not like they did the gnocchi I had was fantastic.
oh, it was
Oh,
so
yeah,
good.
gnocchi.
Yeah.
So it was, and we got, and then the last day, you guys didn't go, but several of us got to go over
yeah.
to the island where they filmed Tom Hanks' Castaway movie. And that was such a fun day. We got to do a little hike, go see some of the parts of the movie, like where certain things happened, the cliffs, it still says the help it written out in coconuts. Beautiful. It was very choppy that day. The water was, still pretty, but you could tell that it wasn't the colors that it could be because it was overcast and choppy. But they served us a bento lunch. It was a great excursion. It's one of the excursions that you can get if you're on the island, and absolutely 100% would recommend it to everyone. It was so fun. Great day. And then we left.
Yeah.
We had a 9 o'clock
Oh, that
flight
same
home.
day.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a full day. I
It
mean,
was
coming home, you have a 40-hour day because of the
Mm.
time difference. So we literally
18
woke up, had breakfast, lunch, dinner, got on a plane, slept, and landed in Dallas at 3 p.m. on the same day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then,
And then had
So-
dinner and lunch and dinner again.
yeah.
Didn't go to sleep for a long time.
Yeah. I
Mm.
definitely kept my husband up talking until 3 a.m. that morning. So.
It was a long.
I guess the next morning.
It was a long day.
I fell
Yes.
asleep when I got home. I was so tired. I
Oh.
thought I slept on the plane. So again, on the plane ride back, we got lucky. We had, the rows. We had poor man's first class all over the plane. I thought I slept better than I did, but when I got home, I was so exhausted. And I think that for me, I wouldn't do an excursion like that. I wouldn't suggest it to my clients either. The last day, you got to just kind of slow it down a little bit. That was too
Mhm.
much. It was
Yeah.
too much to go, and then get on that flight home. Definitely learned my lesson there. So I would be suggesting
don't
that
know,
people don't
maybe-
do that.
Maybe though, you do suggest it because Amanda and I couldn't go to sleep and we didn't do the excursion. We had a
True.
relaxing day
On the plane?
Oh no, I slept on
well,
the plane.
You slept on the
yeah,
plane.
we both slept on the plane.
Oh, you mean when you got home? I was like, don't, no.
No.
You guys slept on the plane.
Oh yeah.
We did.
You guys saw the flight attendant wake me up.
And guess what it was for? Food.
Breakfast.
It's like she had
For
she
breakfast.
put a sign on her head, wake for food.
I actually didn't. Normally, yes.
Well, I think that kind of goes over our whole trip. Any last thoughts that you guys want to share with the people out there that are not watching anymore?
Go to Fiji.
Go to Fiji. Yeah. If it's a bucket list trip, do it.
It's a bucket
And
list
it's
trip for a reason.
It's actually affordable.
It is affordable.
Compared
affordable.
to, I mean,
It is.
and honestly, a lot of the pricing comes out the same or sometimes a little better than going to Mexico.
Yeah.
You know,
It just depends on the time of year, I think. And obviously, you know, where you're wanting to stay. But
yes,
but for Fiji, also you have to remember that most of these resorts, they're gonna have food options, but they're not gonna be like your all-inclusive in
that is
Mexico.
true. They're not. You can add
Meal plans.
You can add
meal
plans.
plans at most of them, and some
Mhm.
do have alcohol plans, and those can be depending on the resort. I believe Momi Bay, your alcohol plan could be separate from your meal plan.
Right.
That's what they
And
said. Yep.
yeah, so you can add those things. So, but right now, at least, or while we were there, it was kind of like a 2-to-1 exchange where the dollar was so strong that anything we purchased was like half price, is almost what it felt like.
It's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Like I was super impressed with how cheap it really was.
Yeah.
Well, in a lot of the meals, like, yes, say they were for an entree or for your meal, it was 40 Fijian. That's $20.
That's
And
$20.
so that's
for-
basically what you're paying here.
For a good
And
meal.
so,
For a
yeah, and it
good-
was good food.
Yeah. That's the key.
Yeah.
Is it's not a $20. It's not like you're getting Taco Bell for $20.
Right.
You're getting
Oh, gosh.
actual plated
I
good
don't get
meal.
Taco Bell anyway.
Come
Oh, Papa Joe.
on, Papa Joe.
Yeah, if you know, I know I had priced out a couple spring break trips for people when I got back compared to Hawaii, and it was, I mean, with flights, it was less, $2,000-3,000 less. So there's some options to be had out there. There's some great trips to be had. There's great places to stay. I think it's a little more unique. Again, it's a long flight, but you know, some of the Hawaii travel days from the middle of the country can be 13 and 14 hours because you got a layover, you got this, you got that. It's not, you know, it's not that much further if you do it right.
Yeah.
If you use a travel professional, we can make sure you do it right.
Yeah, because especially Fiji Airways flies nonstop from Dallas, but it's only 3 days a week. So if you don't line those days up correctly, you're
going to
gonna have
LA.
you're gonna have layovers, and so why not work with us?
You're the travel advisor. We can
Yeah.
help you.
Yes, we can. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Well, I think then that will do it. I appreciate you guys being on here. I thought this was fun.
Yeah.
I hope that people will watch this. We did have some viewers going on here, and I'm going to leave it posted and we could start clipping stuff out of here for different socials and stuff like that. And I think it's a good way to recap a trip and kind of keep the memories of this thing alive.
Love it.
And I appreciate that we had an opportunity to do this.
Yeah. Thankful.
Awesome.
Thank
Grateful.
you. Thanks for setting it up.
Yes. Thanks, Joe.
Anytime. All right. Well, thanks everybody who watched and who's going to watch. And if you need any of us, leave a comment in the section below and we'll be sure to get back to you. Bye.
Bye. Manaka.
Vinaka.